Hello, everyone. This is JD Calderon, and this is Indie Comics Explained. And again, I brought another fantastic guest on for all of you comic fans. So please like, subscribe, and hit that notification button. Also, I have an Indiegogo currently on Indemand with the Oswald Chronicles, so go check that out. And without further ado, I'm going to bring in a guy that I've actually known for quite a while, and I haven't really had a chance to talk to. And it's kind of weird. We run around the same circles, see each other, say hello, but never spoke. So this is a great opportunity for both of us to get to know each other. And without further ado, the fantastic KJ Murphy.
Thank you.
So, I mean, KJ, so like I said, like I just said, we've both been around for a while, you know, in this funky thing we call indie comics, right?
Yeah.
Now, all right, so let me just start with it. So, KJ, what was the book, right? When you were little KJ, what was the book that got little KJ excited about doing comics? Like, what was that one book? Because we all have the first comic. It's not necessarily that comic, but there's always a comic that was like, that's why I want to do this.
I think honestly, I'm all about strange, unusual, supernatural stuff. So it wasn't really superhero books, but it was a Swamp Thing, early Swamp Thing with Bernie Wrights and I forget what issue, but it was like from their original run, and I think seeing his stuff really just kind of blew me away. So
right.
Kind of just stayed with me. I would like look at his books over and over again until they got dog-eared, and I'm a pretty big Wrightson fan anyway, so I think that character, something about that character that I really like. It's sort of like Frankenstein, one of those monsters that is misunderstood. I guess I relate to that on some level.
We're all misunderstood. We're indie comic publishers.
Oh yeah, right. We're crazy.
Only each other. We're the only ones who really kind of understand.
Oh yeah.
The madness.
When you're putting that much time in, and you're investing in something, and people are like, "Are you insane?"
Yeah, exactly. And you're like, well, now that I think about it. But so getting into it, like, so I know early on, you started something called Guildworks. Oh no, the Comic Book Artists Guild. Right. And you were heavily involved with that. And what was that? Like, what was that type of community? What were you trying to achieve with that?
I think in the late 90s, I was just feeling really alone, and I really wanted to keep the whole comic book dream alive. I didn't really want to sell out and get a day job, and I was fresh out of art school, and I was looking for excuses to collaborate with people, and I met this one guy, Rob King, and we just hit it off. He was just a really fun guy, and I liked the time. We worked on an animation pitch, and spent months drawing with him, getting to know him, and we stayed really good friends after that. And I basically asked him if he would be interested in kind of a network where we would bring a lot more people in, different people, and he seemed very interested in it. So I just went ahead, and he invited everybody he knew, and I invited the people I knew, and that's how it started. So.
Well, that's cool. Now, when you were actually in there doing the Artist Guild, like how many people did you actually get involved in the group?
I think it started very slow. The first year, it was less than 20 people, but by the second year, we started doing shows in New York, and I met James Rodriguez and a lot of other cool people like Philip Clark and a few other people, and sort of they got excited about the network, and then by the third year, I was in Massachusetts, and Hector Rodriguez and Ben Yen and a lot of these Northampton cats. They were all really cool, and suddenly I was going to like New York City, I was going to Northampton, Mass, and then I was running a meeting in Connecticut, and I was starting to kind of feel overwhelmed, and I just really needed more people involved to help run it, and I got a leadership structure going, and then just more people joined after that. I think by 2005 it really got huge. I think we probably got over about 300 members at some point before it all started to kind of implode.
Right. Now, I remember you used to print like a little group like anthology,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. How many of those guys did you do?
Um, I did 5. No, I did 4 myself. So I knew nothing about making comics, right? So
Right.
the first one I did, I printed like 3,000 newsprint issue 1 books, and I think James did the cover. I did the layouts. He did the cover. It featured one of his stories about like a humanized weapon assassin. I think her name was Naja or Nava. It was like the blade or something. And in my story, it was a zombie hunter story, and then I forget who the third story was. So we just made a little anthology book, and that's how it started. And then I ended up doing 2, 3, and 4 by myself, just getting whoever came in who had pretty much a ready to go thing, like something that could fit with the others. It wasn't like we had a centralized theme. It was just literally a taste of what people were doing, and it wasn't my idea to just make it into a publishing thing. It was more of just a network, an opportunity to get our stuff out there. That was the whole point of making books.
Gotcha. Okay. So let's get a little bit into process. Now, I know you're a writer artist, right?
Yep. I think it was more, I want to be an artist, and then I had to learn how to write more. Yeah.
Sometimes that happens. Yeah. If you don't find a partner, you're like, well, got to dance on my own.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Right. No, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think it wasn't my intention to ever really do my own thing, and I think that is what sort of was my Achilles heel. I was having problems getting my own thing going. I was excited about other people's projects and helping them, and then when it came time to, hey, what is Keith working on? It was like he had nothing, So I think by 2009 I knew I wanted to like write something for myself, and that's when I ended up writing a Wendigo's yarn, 60-page book called Torn. I got it right here. If you want to hear it is.
Nice.
Yeah. So this ended up being full color. It was the first full color or second full color book I did. But it took me, I think by 2011, I think I had 3 revisions, 3 rewrites, and I sent it to a couple of my people, like Chris Buckner I worked with, and then Steve Canaris from Free Lunch. He bounced it back and gave me some ideas, and then I had a finished script, but then it took me another 2 years to finally draw it, and so I think by 2014 I had an actual finished book. So.
Right. All right. Well, that's cool. I mean, where well, we'll get into where it's available later, because now when you actually sit down and write your scripts, now are you doing, let's say like a full script like DC style, or are you sitting back, you maybe doing maybe a little bit more casual for you because you're doing it for yourself, so you're doing more like a Marvel style, with just giving yourself a description and it's kind of a direction you're going?
I think when I'm collaborating with other people, it's almost always the full script situation, and I think with me, I need that full script. Actually, I need kind of like a tangible thing. I need to know what's going to go on each page, and more or less not the finished dialogue, but kind of the idea of what dialogue is going on the page, and then I could always go back in and change the dialogue, obviously. It's very much like a 3-act structure kind of approach. Right.
Okay. Now, are you what they call a pantser or a plotter? So you're sitting there, you just jump at the script, just jump, start pounding with the keyboard, or you're sitting there with the little string and you're trying to figure out where the criminal is hiding or something.
Yeah. No, I definitely want to. It's almost like I want a strong beginning and I want a strong ending, and then I kind of connect everything in between. So I don't know if it's really. It's kind of a haptic approach, but I think I know how I want it to start and end. So I don't know if that answered your question.
No, it does, because I work pretty much the same way.
Yeah.
I have to have an ending worked out, and I like a strong beginning, and maybe I'll have 1 or 2 things in the middle worked out. Like I'll have certain points, and then I'll just run through it.
I think it's really important to have early, a strong theme throughout, so each book I try to think about, well, what am I really trying to say here? What's the takeaway for somebody if they're going to invest their $3 or $4 in my book? I want to make sure that they walk away with some kind of message.
Mm-hmm.
So I always think about what I'm trying to say in all my books now, for sure. I think when I was making anthology stories, I was just having fun, and I was just like,
Right.
hey, let's do something with space cowboys, or let's do something with zombies, as everyone was doing zombie books at the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. True. Yeah. $3 or $4 a book, KJ, you're giving it away.
Well, you know what? It seems like, when you put a $10 price tag on something, it's just like such a huge investment. I guess when you have to pay someone to color, I don't really color my own stuff. I mean, right. I can color, but yeah, you have to get some of that money back, really.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, definitely. Have you looked into? I don't know. I mean, have you ever done any campaigns via Kickstarter, Indiegogo?
I am actually. I've been talking about Kickstarter probably for almost 10 years, and I think I bumped into so many people that have had success with Kickstarter that it kind of became this year. All right, well now I have the time to do a few things.
Right.
One of them is to really learn the Kickstarter model. And so I have been planning a Kickstarter campaign slowly. I have a page. I haven't launched it.
Right.
Because I obviously want to succeed. I don't want to fail. So I've been very much trying to get people excited about what we're doing, the road to Valhalla, because that's going to be the first thing I launch. So.
Gotcha. All right, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, I definitely suggest it. I throw them up all the time.
Now you do Indiegogo too, or do you do just Kickstarter?
I just started probably about 6 or 7 months ago doing Indiegogo. So
which is like the way to go here, because I don't really know.
See, here's the thing.
Yeah.
Kickstarter, right, is a much larger platform.
Okay.
Now, the one good thing about it is that there are people who actively just search out for projects on Kickstarter. Yeah. So you can go on and there'll be a few. You'll get pledges just from people looking for stuff. Okay. Which is awesome. But Indiegogo, you have to bring your own people. You have to work a little bit harder at it. But it has, for me, the thing that I find most valuable, it has, after the campaign is done and you've succeeded. So you can set your campaign at $500, and once you get past that point, it goes into Indemand, or you can select it to go into Indemand. And then it's basically like a store.
Oh, wow.
So, I've looked at my phone and be like, oh, they just sent me $100.
Wow.
Or they'll send you $150 or whatever. And it's just like, oh, I got to fulfill an order,
Okay.
And that's what that is. And and that one particular aspect of it, I really, really like. Kickstarter is fantastic as well, because it, like I said, it's just a much bigger platform. So they have people on there and they're just looking for stuff.
Wow.
So, yeah, but the thing is that, that's usually within the first 2 or 3 days, or first 1 or 2 days, and the last 1 or 2 days of your campaign. You're going to get, but either way, you have to work at it. You have to just get on there and just promote.
Oh yeah, I don't mind doing the work. I think it's I'm hearing you got to start strong at the beginning, and then there's in the middle, and then at the end you have to do one final rally to kind of get people excited about it. So
yeah.
I think after this show, I'll definitely hit you up and ask you some pointers.
Yeah, because what I'm doing is like the stuff on Indiegogo that I'm doing is stuff I've already done on Kickstarter. Okay. So, and that's the thing. You have different crowds. Yeah. You have crowds that just like using Indiegogo, and you have other crowds that like, just using Kickstarter. But you do have some crossover, but it's not huge.
Okay.
So I find it worthwhile using both. So what I'll do is I'll do first. Usually I'll do Kickstarter first, and then I'll do Indiegogo.
Cool. Great idea.
So yeah.
I hope you don't mind.
No, that's fine. Listen, I look at it like this: as an indie guy, we need to take as many bites out of that apple as we can get, because it doesn't swing by us too often. You're always like this. I'm hungry. Give me another one. So yeah. Now, okay. So let's talk a little bit about. So now, currently, you're working with Comic Book Artists Guild. So what's that about?
Comic Book Artists Guild? Yeah, I'm not doing it
Oh,
anymore.
no.
Guildworks. Guildworks.
Guildworks. Yes. Guildworks Publications.
I'm still
Yes.
confused. It's been years. So yeah, CAG ended for me in 2009. The group still had leadership structure. I stepped down. I gave everyone a year. I said, hey, look, I want to do my own thing. And everybody pretty much got it. I think some people had a hard time with me not being involved. And I understand. You know, I was the face of the whole thing for years. But I needed to really kind of put more energy and time into Guildworks and eventually get to working on my books. That was the whole point of leaving through.
Right.
So Guildworks is basically, it was Guildworks Productions, and then it became Guildworks Publications. And in 2009, I relaunched it as, you know, dark horror. Kind of basically, we were just doing dark horror books, adult books, mature books. And we had this book called Hell's Blood, and we did 5 issues with Hector Rodriguez, and then we did my Torn book, and then we've done Human Weapon with John Escobalas. He's gonna be like, you forgot me. But we also did another one of his stories, which I'm blanking out right now. Keyholders. I did 2 of his books. I did 5 of Hector's books, and I did 1 of my books. We did a zombie anthology book, a 120-page book with Chris Buckner, and we did a few adult pinup books actually, and those sell well online, obviously.
Right.
But I got away from all that last year, and I told John and Hector we needed to have kids books. We had to do more kids books, so we launched Ballot Grannies last year, and the plan is to do more of those books. So I'm working on one now, so it's called Lippy Legs.
Okay, that's cool. Talk to me about the Battle of at Granny's house, because I actually downloaded the PDF and I checked it out. That was a lot of fun. What was the genesis? What was the idea behind that?
John came to me and said, it'd be cool to do a story about a kid that kind of goes off into his own world, and kind of becomes these different things and battles robots and battles, dust bunnies. And I said, it sounds like a cool idea. And I said, I'd love to draw it, but the only thing is, can we make the boy a girl? Instead, I think he wanted to call him Nolan. And I said, can we call it Nola? Because I wanted to do something for our granddaughter. I thought, hey, there's not enough girls in comics, and got to start them young, man. So
that's true.
I figured, I was doing this kind of like as a thing for her, and it was cool to read it to her because she can read but not well. So
right.
So basically, John has a really great. You should have him on. Actually, he's a great storyteller. He basically was like, he was kind of like, hey, we need to, do more of this stuff. So I got excited about it, and he basically just he kind of got me excited about it, and then he was like, yeah, and every time she becomes somebody, we want to have this cool kind of Conan moment, like a John Buscema, a Frank Frazetta moment, where she's in this cool pose, holding an axe or something. So I was looking forward to doing all that stuff, and then as I was doing it, I was like, I don't know if I can do all that stuff, because he had a lot of cool ideas, and I just didn't know how I could fit it all in. But he had a script, and we went back and forth on it. But he had a pretty good idea as to what he wanted, and he and I just worked really well together. And so basically, she has to battle these things at her grandmother's house, and at the end, she basically has a nice evening with her grandmother. But in the middle, she's like battling all these like the things that scare us. And the theme of the book is basically following basic rules or basic principles, like respecting yourself, respecting others, and all those scenes kind of come through the book. And I think John's martial arts training is what kind of prompted all those themes.
No, yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. Now, the process you went through, because I saw it's pencils, and then you had color over the pencils. Now, you penciled it? Did you do the colors on it, or did you hire that out?
I did. I did not do the colors on it. Say hello, fun with Chihuahua. You know what? I kind of knew that I just wanted to draw it, and I wanted somebody else to color it and finish it, and I just wanted to paint the cover. I just wanted to do a wraparound cover. I wanted to do a big, huge watercolor painting, and I did. But then I couldn't fit it into I didn't think about fitting it into the dimensions of the actual pages of the book. So a lot of cropping happened, unfortunately. When you look at the painting and then you look at the book cover, you're like, wow, there's like so much. Not it's like it's this massive thing, and then it went like that. I guess that happens.
Yeah. I mean, it's unfortunate, but
So I think after that book was done, I got really excited. I was like, yeah, this is something I'm very proud. I mean, I keep it in my office, and if a kid's having a hard time, I kind of say, here, read this. It's like, because I have the day job of being a counselor with kids and adults,
Right.
And that prompted us to do another book called Feelings Field Guide, which was a totally different thing, which was sort of like Dungeons and Dragons meets a counselor's, feelings, that stuff. So that was fun to do too. But that didn't have a lot of it didn't have a lot of sequential. It was just like literally different animals, different creatures with different feelings, different monsters.
So how did you feel about the adventure attacking you today?
The adventure what?
How do you feel about the adventure attacking you today? That sort of thing?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
But actually, no, it was alphabetized. So I had like, trying to think of without the book in front of me, but basically it was like kind of this play on words,
Right.
So it was fun to do. It was fun to do, and I ended up bringing in a couple artists. So I didn't draw the whole thing myself, thankfully. I had Brian Brindley come in, who did Sky Pirates of Valandor with Free Lunch. I had a gentleman named Bern Negron, who draws amazing monsters. He came in, and so I think between the three of us, we just banged out all these drawings of all these creatures, and it kind of made me think about the old Dungeons and Dragons manual. I think that was my whole, kind of having all the stats, kind of like talking about the creature and its strengths and weaknesses, that kind of thing.
No, it sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Now you're doing a new kids book. You just mentioned it, Lippy Legs.
Yeah. So when the COVID thing hit, the first thing I was like thinking was, okay, it's time to actually work on this Road to Valhalla script. I mean, no, not the script. The script was written. It's time to actually draw the pages. And I started drawing the pages, and then I got hit by 3 different people, all saying, "Hey, I have a story." Like a few months in, they all were like, "Hey, I have a story. Do you want to draw it?" I'm like, "Yeah, I want to do it, but I need to do this first." I'm like, I committed to making this Viking story finally happen. But it was kind of that kind of thing, and but one of the stories in particular, Karen, she basically was like, I got this idea about this girl who has this condition called lipedema, which I'm still saying wrong, but it's like when the pot cells kind of cluster up and make these, elongated, bigger masses, and it's uncomfortable, obviously, and but it deals with body shaming, the story, and it's a very sweet, simple kind of, hey, we're good, we're fine the way we are, is the message, and she finds a friend in the book. A friend moves in next door that has her own issue with her body, and then it talks about how we're all different, which is cool. So I really liked the theme around it, and so I ended up agreeing to draw that book for her.
That's cool. That's cool. Now, your relationships with your other partners, are they your partners? Are like you guys collaborators on these books, or are you a hired gun?
Are they hired guns, you mean?
Right. Well, either way, are you a hired gun, are they a hired gun, or you guys partners?
No, I'm definitely the publisher. So I mean, I make sure the bills are paid. I coordinate conventions. Hector is definitely a partner. So I do basically. I run everything by him, so he's like a creative director for me, and then John is sort of like an editor in chief. So we send scripts to him, so he's more on the writing side. So John Escobar is more on the writing side of things, and his wife actually planned 4 of our conventions that all got canceled this year.
Oh,
I was like, it was
terrible.
one less thing I wanted to do, and his wife stepped up, and she was very organized, more organized than me. She had this all on a spreadsheet, and I got excited. I was like, all right, cool, you know. It didn't happen, you know?
Yeah.
So
a lot
it's
of people.
John, me, and Hector, and everybody else that comes in is kind of like a talent that we pay to do work for us. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Right. That's pretty much right.
Gotcha. Yeah, I only ask because, like, you know, I do a book called Tall Tales with my wife Daphne.
Yeah.
We're partners, right?
Right.
And then I do another book called the Oswald Chronicles where I hire people.
Now, Oswald Chronicles isn't the same as Tall Tales.
No.
What's the difference between the two?
Well, Tall Tales is action adventure with animals. It's a sword and sorcery action adventure book.
Nice.
So think of Disney meets Lord of the Rings.
Oh, great. Okay.
Okay. Then the Oswald Chronicles, though, it's about a mouse who's destined to become the greatest sorcerer of our time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But the thing is that he's the only mouse. Like, he's the only sentient animal. Okay, there are no other sentient animals. It's an aberration. You know, that's what he is. And then, but they're fairies in the world, and they're humans. I mean, and he lives on Park Avenue on 54th Street.
So it's modern day fantasy.
It's modern day fantasy.
And the other is more classic, kind of old.
Yeah, that's exactly.
I
So you know,
I've seen your wife at shows, and I think I might have even bought a book once upon a time.
Yeah, like I said, we've ran in those circles for so many years. You know, it's one of those things. It's just like, you know, I got to get KJ on here, man. I haven't spoken to him. You know, that's why I'm happy to have this FaceTime.
Yeah, this is awesome. It's good.
You know, so let's talk a little bit about Road to Valhalla. What's that about?
So what happened was, after I wrote this Torn Wendigo story, in the Torn Wendigo story, it takes place in the King Philip's era, which is basically the later 16th century. This trapper, mercenary type of character, he does these Indians wrong, and he becomes this Wendigo. And there's some flashback sequences, but it's in present day. The new story, the Viking story. So what happened was, after I wrote it and made the book, John said, "Yeah, it's a cool story. You should do more with it." I'm like, "Well, what can I do with it after that? All I can do is do a prequel, right? I could do something that happened before, you know." Like, that was sort of the thinking. And I was like, well, it'd be cool to do something around, like, with Vikings, you know, and how Vikings, you know, for 200 years, Vikings were almost conquering the world in a way. They never had their own continent or whatever, but they were going everywhere else. So, you know, there was these stories about Vikings going to, you know, Scandinavia, well, not Scandinavia, you know, Northern America, you know.
Right.
So, well, you know, that's where this Wendigo folklore story takes place, in kind of northeastern continent. So I was like, well, there's the tie-in. I could bring you know, how about a Viking turns into a Wendigo? And then John was like, let's, you know, so John wrote a treatment, and I drew like 12 pages of it. I didn't like and this was like 5 years ago. I didn't like the direction of it, and John wanted to include a bunch of crazy stuff. Like, he wanted to bring in aliens, like UFOs, and like an abominable snowman or a Yeti and all this other stuff. And it was just like too much stuff. And so I was like, John, I don't know, man. This is. So then, like, last year, we were like working together on a few things, and the idea of doing the story came up again. I was like, yeah, if we can trim the fat and just make it about the Vikings and the Native Americans and the Wendigo, I think I can be invested in this again. And so he was like, sure. And so he did. So we went back and forth. We did some ideas. So he's very much, he's a collaborator and writing partner, but he's done all the finished dialogue and everything. Yeah, so that's how it started. And so basically, instead of there being one Wendigo in this story, there's like 5 or 6 Wendigos. Like, there's some Vikings that are at a settlement, and then the settlement goes into disarray. I won't explain the whole story. But essentially, these other Vikings, like months later, are sent out to find out what happened to the original Vikings at the settlement, and then they find out that these creatures there, and that they find out more what happened to the Vikings and that kind of thing. It's sort of like finding a settlement that's deserted, and then like what happened.
Right.
that kind of thing.
Gotcha. That's cool. Now, what type of timeline are you looking for, like to complete the project in?
Well, I'm on page 18 right now, and I started beginning of July. I've done like 2 camping excursions, and I'm about to do a third one Labor Day weekend. So instead of like doing the things I wanted to do, I wanted to go to Disney World this year, and I wanted to go to Ireland this year, and neither is happening. So the money I was going to use for those things, we ended up buying a camper. So
Right.
we've been doing a lot of camping, which is cool. But every time I go camping, I don't get a lot of artwork done, and so it's kind of hard to draw and camp, you know. But I'm doing it. I'm doing the best I can. So I started in July, and basically, I'm more than halfway done. So I'm looking. What happened was I thought I'd be done in beginning of August, and it didn't happen. So I started Lippy Legs late, 2 weeks later. So now I'm like laying out Lippy Legs pages, and I'm finishing the Viking story at the same time. And now I have somebody else saying, "Hey, I have this other story, a 36-page story. Do you think you can get it done for October?" I'm like, "Hell no! I'm not going to get 36 pages done. I'm still working on these." It's like, if I could finish one, I could maybe start helping you with your thing. But yeah, it's cool to be in demand and have a bunch of people say, "Hey," I had a guy the other day say, "Hey, you know, I'm in a band. Can you do the album cover?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that sounds great, but no, I can't do it right now." You know. Sort of like, it's cool when all the work comes in, but there's only so many hours in a day, you know, and I have to finish what I started. So.
No, I got you, man. But it's fantastic that you keep it busy.
Yeah, no, it's weird. It's like last year I put it out there. I said, you know what, I really want to come full circle, and I want to stop treating my passion as a hobby. I was from 2000 to 2008, 2009. I was treating it as a hobby.
Right.
And about 5 years ago, I started working for myself full time, and then I had time, and then I was doing more art. You know, I was making time to do more art, and now I'm doing more art, and people are seeing that I'm doing more art, and they're like, "Wow, that guy's doing stuff. I want to do something with him." You know, it sort of turned into that, which is cool. You know? So.
No, that's awesome. Because yeah, I mean, for me, like, I consider what I do a hobby.
Yeah.
You know, but it's, you know, I have 26 volumes done, or 26 issues done on Tall Tales.
I think that's a legacy, man. I don't think that's.
You know, and we're not done yet either.
Yeah, right.
And on Oswald Chronicles, I have over 1,000 pages done.
Wow. That's
great. And I'm probably 1,500 pages away from that ending. So.
Okay. So there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, I have an ending. I got an ending. It's gonna end.
Yeah.
You know, but it's.
Yeah, I think if it's shorter projects, I'm you know, if it's like only like a 3-issue book or something, I'm more like in, or a 1-issue book, I'm in. But as soon as someone tells me it's like a 7 or 8 volume book or something crazy like that, it just seems like that's going to take forever. You know what I mean?
Yes, it is.
You've been in the game for like what, 20-something years or whatever?
Since '91.
Oh man, so you got some years on me, because I didn't get in until I really got serious in like late '90s, early 2000s. I got serious.
Right. Yeah. No, my first self-published book was in '92.
Oh wow. Okay.
And then I worked professionally for a short window for about 3 years.
Okay.
From about 95 to 97, 90, yeah, something like that. You know, did some adult work. You know, had a choice: flip a burger or write porn. And I was like, yeah, I can write porn.
Why not?
Exactly. And then I wrote Tenchi Muyo, which was based on some anime, and I wrote some other stuff. But that process taught me that I don't want to be a professional writer. Yeah. That's the one thing it taught me, is that it's not for everybody. I can do the work, but I hate pitching. Yeah. With a passion. I was like, give me the damn job. If I suck, fire me. You know?
Well, but it's hard to kind of condense something you really are passionate about, something you really care about, into like a small blurb. And sort of, it's just about this, you know? It's like, what? You know? How is someone going to get that excited if you just give them like a quick elevator pitch, really?
Right. So, just got a regular day job and just do this stuff on my part time. So, but that that has nothing to do with you. Let's talk about you.
Sure. Sure.
So, what's all right? I mean, you obviously got a lot on your plate. You got Road to Valhalla. You got Lippy Legs, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, if we're talking, let's say a year down the road or 2 years down the road, where do you see yourself? Like, where I mean, you're doing like, obviously you mentioned Kickstarter, but I mean, what else are you looking to do?
Other than getting more Kickstarter campaigns going, I'm wanting to like do my day job less and do comics more and get paid to do comics more. I think it's really so. I'm trying to figure out how to make that happen, and which means putting other people's books together, not necessarily drawing everything. Maybe just doing the covers, maybe doing the pre-production work or some post-production work, but essentially treating it more like a business in the next couple of years. I mean, I'm never going to quit the day job. I work for myself. I'm good.
Right.
But it gives me flexibility. Like if I want to do a 4-day weekend to work on my book, I'll do a 4-day weekend to work on my book because the boss is awesome. I can just give myself a vacation anytime I want. I mean, I can't do it forever because I eat it. When I take a vacation, I'm not getting paid. But essentially, I'll have days where I'm busy. Like I'll just like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I'm at work before 9 and I'm working till way later, till 6 o'clock at night or whatever. And then I have days where I'm working from home and I'm doing phone calls, telehealth from home, and I can draw while I'm talking to somebody. You know what I mean? I mean, don't tell anybody.
Right. Gotcha. Oh, that's really cool. I mean, that's the best way to live that dream. It's fantastic.
I want to keep making books, man. I want to keep coming up with stories. So I'd like to make something that actually people want to see as a cartoon or something that becomes a movie. That's my dream, to sell the rights to something. Oh, sorry. I just lost it there. Sorry about that. Sell the rights. I get passionate, then things start flying. But sell the rights to something that I own, that people want to turn into something. That would be the ultimate goal for me.
Gotcha. All right. So I got a question for you. It's about process. It's a bit of a weird question. I've only asked it to 1 or 2 people. So what's the portion of the creation process, right, that you dread the most?
Okay. I love coming up with ideas. I love shooting it back and forth with people. I like laying out the pages. But then when all that fun stuff's done, somebody has to do the work. So then I think when I have to put the man hours into a page, and I go, okay, this page is like a full splash page. I can bang this out in a couple hours. All right, this page has 8 panels in it, and there's a lot of like repetition, and it's boring looking or whatever. Doesn't have a lot of action. I'm gonna hate this page. It's gonna take me more than a few hours to do. So I think just when I'm drawing, I like drawing, but I need to take breaks. I can't sit for long periods of time, and my back isn't what it used to be. So I'll hunch over a drawing board, and I think I like to get to a point where I'm paying people to draw my stuff. I think I can do a sketch and say, here's what I want, and then they'll just make it happen. But yeah, I think the labor-intensive part of it is drawing lots of pages. It gets tough because there's things I want to do after I work a full day. I want to come home and relax, spend time with my family. But I've been sitting in front of this drawing board for a while, and people are like, "Where's Keith? Where'd he go?"
Right.
So.
I got you. Yeah. We just end up disappearing after a while. Like, yeah, where are you? Now, we've been at this for a little bit. We're coming close to the end, but we're not there just yet. So I got a few more questions for you, right?
Okay.
So, first one is, did I add? All right. Did I not ask you any questions that you wanted to be asked, or is there anything you want to discuss before we move on?
That's a really great question, man. I don't think anyone's ever asked me that question. Everybody's different. trying to think if there's anything major. You know, I talked about Road to Valhalla, which I am going to Kickstarter in the near future. So that's where a lot of my energy is.
Cool.
I'm sure if John was here, he would remind me, or Hector was here, they'd remind me of whatever else I committed to. But I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I need those guys to keep me straight, you know. So no, I don't think there's anything else that I can't think of anything, honestly.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. And then before we move on to the other questions, where can people find KJ, your work?
Okay, sure.
You know.
So I think what I did was several years ago, I started trying to meld the therapist portion of me and the artist portion of me together, because I wasn't always KJ Murphy, but I started going by the handle Comic Art Therapy Guy. So if you go on Instagram or YouTube, you can find me Comic Art Therapy Guy, all one word. And so you can see some of my YouTube videos talking about some of my comic stuff, but it's mostly art therapy related, actually. So I mean, that's for personal. For the group, for Guildworks, it's gwpcomics.com. We just launched that website a few months ago. So basically, it's got storefront on it, which I think is set up now. And then I'm trying to think. I think I have I think it's still running, a Big Cartel page, but I think I'm getting rid of the Big Cartel page. I think that's Comic Art Therapy Guy as well. Pretty sure. If you type Comic Art Therapy Guy, you'll find all the links. But I'm really trying to put more energy into Guildworks now, full speed ahead with Guildworks. I've got the time, I've got the resources. That's really my passion now, is to do more stuff with Guildworks.
All right, cool. And I also have the link in the show notes, so you can check them out there.
Perfect, awesome.
Yes. So now, all right. So now we can move on to my goofy questions.
Okay.
So, if you had the opportunity to pick another artist, someone, anyone, doesn't matter, living or dead, to do a cover for you.
Oh my God.
Okay. So if you had the choice, like, who would you get to do a cover for you? And don't worry about budget.
Yeah, right. This guy would be expensive. I think it would be amazing to get a Frank Frazetta cover. I would take a Bernie Wrightson cover. I'm not greedy.
Because I'm not picky.
Although his stuff goes for a lot of money also.
Oh yeah.
I would take either of those artists, hands down.
All right, cool. Now, KJ, if you were given the golden ticket, right, and they called you up, close. If you were given the golden ticket, you were called up to the big companies, right, and they said, KJ, any character, any book, and it doesn't matter. It's just not just Marvel, DC, be Marvel, DC, Image, Dark Horse, whomever, doesn't matter. Who would you pick to work on? Or what would you pick to work on?
I don't know why. I think I would love to try to do Swamp Thing my way. But I'm not a superhero guy, but there's something about Batman that I think it's sort of a rite of passage. Everybody wants to, be involved with Batman because he's such a cool character.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, if it's any comic book company, any property, I would love to just do an issue of Walking Dead, like a one-shot. That would be cool.
Right.
Just do my thing in that world, get to know Robert Kirkman, and that's not a bad guy to know.
No, not at all. Yeah. No, that's cool. Yeah. All right. So now, before we're close to wrapping it up, but we're not there just yet. I got a few comparatives for you. Okay. All right. So I'll softball to you first, and then we'll work into some of the other ones. All right. Godzilla or Gamera?
Gamera was which one? Sorry.
it was a giant turtle.
Oh, the turtle. Flying turtle?
Yeah.
Godzilla is so badass. I mean, he breathes the fire, and he does that thing with his tail where he... I'm going to have to go with Godzilla, man. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Gotcha. No, that's fine.
I like turtles, but not, flying turtles seems awkward.
Captain America or Batman?
Batman.
Okay. All right. Cool. Byrne or Perez?
Byrne or Perez? Oh man, those guys are so iconic, both of them. I think John Byrne's the better drafts. Well, no, I mean Perez is an amazing artist too.
Mm.
I think Perez is so awesome and so great to his fans. I'd have to pick Perez. I mean, that guy lost his vision, right? Or he isn't drawing anymore. And I know.
Yeah, he's having health issues.
Yeah, I think just the fact that he is so nice to his fans. He's an amazing artist. He's a really nice guy. I think John Byrne is probably great too. I don't think I've met John Byrne. John Byrne's stuff is. I'd have to go with Perez. It took me a little while there. I'm sorry. Okay. That's a good one.
No. That's fine. That's fine. All right. Kirk or Picard?
Oh man, that's even harder. That's like the plight of every sci-fi nerd or geek, right?
Pretty much.
Can I plead the fifth on that one? No. You know what? Kirk is just so wrong. I mean, when he yells "Call," when he does that thing, you have to go with Kirk, I guess.
All right, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings or Star Wars?
You know what? Star Wars is probably a good majority of why I grew up on Star Wars, really. So who doesn't want to be in a Star Wars universe? I love Star Wars today, even though it's changed a lot. I think I got into Lord of the Rings later on in middle school, high school. I read the books, and then of course the movies came out way later. And when that stuff came out, I was really into it. But I'd have to go with the Star Wars scale, kind of. Right. I think that scale is just a little heavier than Lord of the Rings for me. If I had to pick one,
fair enough.
Probably be it.
Stan Lee or Jack Kirby?
I met Stan Lee once. Everybody else but me. I had to embarrass him and chase him down to actually get a photo with him. Jack Kirby, I've seen interviews with him, and I've heard stories about him. He seemed like a man's man. Just to sit down and draw till his fingers bled. Yeah. I think I wish Jack Kirby had more success like Stan Lee, really. So I think for that reason alone, I'm gonna pick Jack Kirby as the underdog, the guy that didn't get half as the recognition as he should have gotten. Amazing artist. Jack Kirby, he's like the comic book guy, really. I mean, if you put all the other people aside, Jack Kirby really, what he did was pretty much he changed the game, I think.
Yes, I would agree with you.
I'll go Jack Kirby. All
right, cool. All right, we'll do a couple more of these and we'll wrap it up. So, see if I have any more interesting ones for you. Oh, that's not fair. You know what? I'll ask you this one anyway. Sandman or Swamp Thing? And I'm talking Alan Moore Swamp Thing.
Alan Moore Swamp Thing. Oh. You know what? I'm ashamed to admit this. I like Neil Gaiman I love what he does. And, I didn't get into Sandman until recently. And I saw him at conventions, and I saw his characters like Death and Sandman and all that. And I didn't really, it was too cerebral for me at the time. I just downloaded Audible Sandman. I don't know if you've listened to it or not, but really amazing writing. Even if even though I didn't read it, So I'll go with Neil Gaiman Sandman. Actually, pretty neat stuff that he did.
Yeah, no, the stuff's incredible. I mean, yeah. H.P. Lovecraft or Poe?
I mean, Lovecraft has got such great visuals with his writing, but he also has sort of this kind of negative kind of earlier. Some of his writing, I guess, offends people.
Yeah.
And Edgar Allan Poe is sort of he's got sort of a very dark thing. I'm gonna go with Poe because I know Poe's work better than
Lovecraft.
Lovecraft. I haven't read any Lovecraft really. I just heard about it.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, Call of Cthulhu. It's always a good one to start with. So Keith, we made it.
Wow. All right, man.
KJ.
Pass the test. Am I not crazy?
Oh, you passed the test.
Right, good.
You know, there are no wrong answers, as they say, right?
Perfect.
So one more time, KJ, please let everybody know where they can find you and your work.
Yeah, just go to DWP Comics, dwpcomics.com, and you'll see our stuff there. And you know, if you could subscribe, there's a subscribe button. That would be awesome. Download Valor Grannies for free. Join the mailing list. I need more people on my mailing list. You know, when you reopen a shop and you say, hey, you know, I'm doing this again, but I'm trying to get, you know, I had an original mailing list, but it was all comic book creators. It wasn't just fans. So now I'm trying to do artists, fans, anybody that's interested in supporting us now that wants to get behind us. I'm looking for people to join up. So please subscribe to our to anything I'm doing. That would be great.
That's why we're here.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Please, once again, like, subscribe. Go check out the Indiegogo. I'll be talking to you also with another fantastic guest tomorrow. KJ, thank you, man. This was awesome. You know, and, you know, I'll be talking to you again soon. Have a good night, guys.
Good night.